जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदा नंदना जय भजन रंजना जय यशोदानंदना जय भजन रंजना जय यशोदानंदना जय व्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदानंदना जय व्रजजन रंजना जय यमुना तिरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी 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 जय कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुब्रमण्य की जय नरसिंह भगवान की जय पंच तत्व की जय षड गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की जय शिल प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu's Mother is welcome all of you for this Srimad Bhagavatam session. So today we'll be discussing and trying to learn something very useful from 4th canto, 22nd chapter, verse number 51. Phalam brahmani sanyasya निर्विसङ्गः समाहितः कर्माध्यक्षं च मन्वानः आत्मानं प्रकृते परम् फलं ब्रह्मणि सन्न्यस्य निर्विसङ्ग समाहितः कर्माध्यक्षं च मन्वानः आत्मानं प्रकृते परम् फलं ब्रह्मणि सन्न्यस्य निर्विसङ्ग समाहितः कर्माध्यक्षं च मन्वानः आत्मानं प्रकृते परम्. One Prabhu and one Mataji can recite.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Palam Carry on,
Continue,
Mataji.
Mataji. Continue, Mataji. After you.
No problem, Mataji. Please carry on. He has told one per Prabhu, one Mataji. Carry on.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Phalam Brahmani Sanyasya Nirvishangah Samahitah Karmadhyaksham Chamanvana Atmanam Prakrite Param. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Phalam brahmani sanyasya nirvisanga samahitah karmadhyaksham cha manvana atmanam prakrite param. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
One Prabhu can also recite.
Hare Krishna, may I?
Hare Krishna.
Phalam brahmani sanyasya nirvishangas samahitah karmatyaksham cha manvana atmanam prakrite param.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. So synonyms, word to word meaning. Phalam, result. Brahmani, in the absolute truth. Sanyasya, giving up. Nirvishangaha, without being contaminated. Samahitaha, completely dedicated. Karma, activity. Adhyaksham, superintendent. Cha, and. Manvanaha, always thinking of. Atmanam, the super soul. Prakritehe, of material nature. Param, transcendental. Translation and purport by Divine Geshe Prabhupada Ki Jai. Maharaj Prithu completely dedicated himself to be an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, transcendental to material nature. Consequently, all the fruits of his activities were dedicated to the Lord, and he always thought of himself as a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of everything. Purport. The life and dedication of Maharaj Prithu in the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead serve as a good example of Karma Yoga. The term Karma Yoga is often used in Bhagavad Gita, and herein Maharaj Prithu is giving a practical example of what Karma Yoga actually is. The first requirement for the proper execution of Karma Yoga is given herein. Phalam Brahmani Sanyasya or Vinyasya. One must give the fruits of his activities to the Supreme Brahman, Parabrahman, Krishna. By doing so, one actually situates himself in the renounced order of life, sannyasa. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.2, giving up the fruits of one's activities to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called sannyasa. Kamyanam karmanam sannyasam sannyasam kavayo viduhu sarva karma phalatyagam prahustyagam vichakshanaha. To give up the results of all activities is called renunciation, tyaga, by the wise. And that state is called renounced order of life, sannyasa, by great learned men. Although he was living as a householder, Prithu Maharaj was actually in the renounced order of life, sannyasa. This will be clearer in the following verses. The word nirvishangaha, uncontaminated, is very significant because Maharaj Prithu was not attached to the results of his activities. In this material world, a person is always thinking of the proprietorship of everything he accumulates or works for. When the fruits of one's activities are rendered to the service of the Lord, one is actually practicing Karma Yoga. Anyone can practice Karma Yoga, but it is especially easy for the householder who can install the deity of the Lord in the home and worship him according to the methods of Bhakti Yoga. This method includes 9 items: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping the deity, praying, carrying out orders, serving Krishna as a friend, and sacrificing everything for him. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. 7.523 Bhagavatam. These methods of Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga are being broadcast all over the world by the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Anyone can learn these methods simply by following the examples of the members of the society. In one's home or in a temple, the deity is considered the proprietor of everything, and everyone is considered the deity's eternal servant. The Lord is transcendental, for he is not part of this material creation. The words Prakrite Param are used in this verse because everything within this material world is created by the external material energy of the Lord. But the Lord himself is not a creation of this material energy. The Lord is the supreme superintendent of all material creations, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.10. Maya dakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all the moving and non-moving beings, and by its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. All material changes and material progress taking place by the wonderful interaction of matter are under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Events in the middle world are not taking place blindly. If one always remains a servant of Krishna and engages everything in his service, one is accepted as a Jivan Mukta, a liberated soul, even during his lifetime within this material world. Generally, liberation takes place after one gives up the body. But one who lives according to the example of Prithu Maharaj is liberated even in this lifetime. In Krishna consciousness, the results of one's activities depend on the will of the Supreme Person. Indeed, in all cases, the result is not dependent on one's own personal dexterity, but is completely dependent on the will of the Supreme. This is the real significance of Phalam Brahmani Sanyasya. A soul dedicated to service of the Lord should never think of himself as a personal proprietor or the superintendent. A dedicated devotee should prosecute his work according to the rules and regulations described in devotional service. The results of his activities are completely dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Gyantamrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamrupakadamahyam Dadati Subhadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Saganargunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shri Vishaka Avtamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinamando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripasindubhaivacha Patidana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yonta Pravishya Mamavacham Imam Prasuptam Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Dharasvadhamna Anyam Chahasta Charana Shravanato Prana Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Mukam Karoti Vacharam Pangam Langete Girim Takkapatamam de Pramanandamatam Namo Vishtavaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Himati Mahavishnu Goswami Ramane Namo Vishtavaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Sendhu Bhakti Vidasa Mune Nirvishya Shunya Paschadisthani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Hare Krishna Ram Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu's Matagis. I welcome all of you for this wonderful Krishna Katha from the chapter 4th canto, 26th chapter, verse number 51. See, we are not actually human beings on a spiritual journey. We are all spiritual beings on a human journey. So you should very be careful of what you are doing, right? Shanvata Shraddaya Nityam Granatascha Swacheshtitam Kalena Nati Dirghena Bhagavan Vishate Riti. So we are hearing Bhagavatam every day in and day out, Nityam Bhagavad Seva, right? So what is the benefit? It says, persons who hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and are always taking the matter very seriously will have the personality of God, Shri Krishna, manifested in their hearts within a short time. Kale na ati dirghen, Bhagavan Vishatirthi. 284 Bhagavatam says. Just now we read, no, that with regard to Karma Yoga. See, the basic meaning of the word karma is simply action. But the point to understand is, if any action is done for only our own sense gratification, then that is karma. But if karma is done, if any action is done for the pleasure of Krishna, then it is called Karma Yoga. That's what Prabhupada Maharaj was doing, right? Because see, when you do any karma, there will be definitely some result, right? Some phal will be there. So if you are eating that phal yourself, then there's no point. That is only karma. So you will have to face the reactions, sinful, bad, good, whatever it is. Whereas if you offer whatever action you are doing, you offer it to Krishna, then it becomes Karma Yoga. There is no reaction, no sin. See, as a fan, switched off fan, no? Immediately it doesn't stop. Gradually spins slower and slower. Correct? Similarly, the karmic baggage of a devotee gradually reduces to nil when he advances in renouncing the fruitive activities for the service of Krishna in all eagerness and earnestness. Then it's possible. So acting purely in the service of the Lord is called akarma. You cannot have expecting anything just for the purpose of Krishna, which means action on the transcendental platform. So this will rid of all karmic actions and reactions. So any reaction or feedback of one's actions from then on is straight from Krishna to his devotee, not from karma. See, some time back, one of my god sisters, she used to take wonderful Mataji classes. So she was sharing that in one of the classes, there is one Mataji, she used to come with her children. That was just maybe about 2-3 months. And it was actually exam time, okay, but classes were going on. So that class also, that Mataji had come along with the children. Exam was about to go, just about going on actually. Final exams, huh? So she asked her, how is it that in the midst of these exams, you have taken time to come to the program along with your children? How many people give excuses for this exam? There's so many excuses to not to come. But this mother was totally different. So she was amazed by the reply. You know what that Mataji said, who came with the children? We feel completely restless if we are unable to attend the program and hear Krishna Katha. This is what she said. So this is what is expected of a devotee, as per Sanat Kumara's instructions to Prithu Maharaj in 4:23, where he says, one has to make progress in spiritual life by not associating with persons who are simply interested in sense gratification and making money. Not only such persons, but one who associates with such persons should be avoided. And Sanat Kumara is telling one should mold his life in such a way that he cannot live in peace without drinking the nectar of the glorification of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. One can thus be elevated by being disgusted with the taste for sense enjoyment. See, Prabhupada says, the beginning of devotional service is, what is the beginning of devotion? Beginning of devotional service is to hear about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is recommended in that verse, Vina Harer Guna Piyusha Panat. Vina Harer Guna Piyusha Panat. That is, one must drink the nectar of the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this means that one must be always engaged in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. So it is a prime method for advancing in spiritual life. See, one cannot live outside the society of devotees. One must live with the association of devotees, where there is constant chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord. Whereas today, now we are all constantly hearing Krishna Katha, reciting shlokas, right? Prabhupada says the Krishna conscious movement is started for this purpose, so that hundreds of ISKCON centers may give people a chance to hear and chant, to accept a spiritual master, and to disassociate with themselves from persons who are materially interested. And in this way, one can make solid advancement in come back to God. So this is the greatest gift Srila Prabhupada has given to the whole world. See what happens, People may come regularly, they are able, regular programs they attend so many years. But what happens? They take things for granted. So slowly they develop their dangerous tendency to take these programs for granted, right? That same eagerness and enthusiasm doesn't have. Whereas every time we get the opportunity to attend these programs, what we should do? We should remember our Guru and Prabhupada with immense gratitude. See how these meetings are beneficial for everyone, without exception. Very beautifully explained by Sanat Kumaras in this chapter. They say in this, when there is a congregation of devotees, their discussions, questions, and answers become conclusive to both the speaker and the audience. Thus, such a meeting is beneficial for everyone's real happiness. Hearing discussions during among the devotees is only means to receive the powerful message of Krishna. For instance, now Bhagavad Gita has been well known all over the world for a very long time. Correct? Excuse me, sorry. Sorry. So hearing discussion among devotees is the only means, right, to receive the powerful message of Krishna, right? So Bhagavad Gita is well known all over the world for a very long time, especially in the Western world. But because the subject matter was not discussed by devotees, there was no effect. Not a single person in the West became Krishna conscious before the Krishna conscious movement was formed. So when the same Bhagavad Gita was presented as it is through the disciplic succession, the effect of spiritual realization was immediately manifested. So generally, there are two classes of men, the materialist and the transcendentalist. So by hearing discussions between devotees, both the materialist and transcendentalist, both are benefited. The materialist is benefited by association with devotees because his life then becomes regulated so that his chance of becoming a devotee or making the present life successful for understanding the real position of the living entity is increased. And when one takes the advantage of this opportunity, he is assured of a human form of life in the next birth. Or he may be liberated completely and come back to God. So if one participates in a discussion of devotees, he is both materially and spiritually benefited. The speaker and the audience are both benefited. Karmis and Gyanis are benefited. So the discussion of spiritual matters amongst devotees is beneficial for everyone without exception. So this makes us understand the way these meetings are to be conducted with great sincerity, right? To glorify the Lord and broadcast his powerful messages. This is what the program should do, actually. My Guru Maharaj always used to insist that these programs have to be conducted with seriousness and sincerity. And third one was with conclusive discussions. There should not be any dilution of the messages which are handed over to us in the bona fide disciplic succession. It should not be reduced to one of social gathering or entertainment. We just come together in the weekends to enjoy. No, it should not be like that. So these meetings should help everyone to mold the lives in such a way that they cannot remain at peace without drinking that nectar of glorification of the Lord, right? Just that mother you was telling, right? So these meetings should help us to elevate one another, path of spiritual understanding. So that is the real success of these meetings, in bringing real happiness to the living entities. And this will please our Guru and Srila Prabhupada very much. So next time when we go to a program to attend a Krishna conscious meeting, very personally or even when they are in these meetings, right, in Zoom and or whatever, three things. Number one, let us become sincere. First one should be let us become sincere. We should see our own sins and not the sins of others. Sincere, right? So these programs make us see, understand, regret, and repent our sinful life and help us to take up the regulated life of devotional service, by which all our sins are completely destroyed. So let us become sincere. Second is, let us be serious Serious because we are all actually serious patients suffering from the disease of material existence. And these Krishna conscious centers are the hospitals providing treatment with Krishna Katha and their diet of Krishna Prasadam. So let us be serious. And third, let us be grateful because these meetings are the gateway for our way of going back home, back to Godhead. Let us become sincere, let us be serious, and let us be grateful. See, many of us before we are not in Krishna consciousness earlier, right? But somehow we came into Krishna consciousness. We just look back. When something uncommon happens in one's progressive spiritual life, it should be understood that it to be anchored by Ajnata Sukruti or pious activities beyond one's knowledge. I didn't know how I came into this Krishna consciousness, right? To see personally the Supreme Personality God or pure devotee is not an ordinary incident. Okay. So when such things happen, they should be understood to be caused by the previous pious activity. As it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.28, Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. One who is completely freed from all the resultant actions of sinful activities and is absorbed in only in pious activities can engage in devotional service. We should be thankful to the people who brought us to this Krishna consciousness, right? It is actually Krishna's mercy. He has sent some through someone, right? And also our own endeavors in this Jaya life, previous Jaya life, pious activities. So Maharaj Patu's life was full of pious activities. Yes, and in fact, Maharaj Patu was wondering how his audience with Kumaras happened, how Sanat Kumaras came to his, right? He could not imagine what kind of pious activities he had performed. So great they are, right? So this is a sign of humility on the part of King Prithu, whose life was so full of pious activities that even Lord Vishnu came to see him and predicted that the Kumaras would also come. See, this is that's what Prithu Maharaj is so humble. Many of us are in Grihastha life. In one of the purpose it says Grihastha life is inauspicious because Grihastha means consciousness for sense gratification. And as soon as there is sense gratification, one's position is always full of dangers. This material world is said to be padam padam yad vipadam na tesham. Dangers in every step. Bhagavatam 10:14-58 says. So everyone in this material world, is struggling. They're struggling hard for sense gratification. So, clearing all these points, Maharaj Prithu inquired from the four Sanat Kumaras about the fallen conditioned souls who are rotting in this material world due to their past bad or inauspicious activities. And Maharaj Prithu was asking Sanat Kumaras, is there any possibility for their auspicious spiritual life? So in that, I think 4:22-13, right? It indicates persons whose only aim is to satisfy the senses, no? So that they are also described as patitana. See, word indriyarthartha vedinam indicates persons whose only aim is to satisfy the senses. And they are also described as patitanam or fallen. So only one who stops all activities for sense gratification is considered to be elevated. You have to stop. Another significant word, right? Swakarma bihi. One becomes fallen by dint of his own past bad activities. So everyone is responsible for his fallen condition because of his own activities. When activities are changed to devotional service, one's auspicious life begins. When activities are changed to devotional service, one's auspicious life begins. See, we can see so many acharyas coming for the program. Some of them, they even go visit the houses, right? When they go from door to door, because to see those who are too much mentally engaged. So when they go, it is understood that they do not go to ask anything for their personal benefit, okay? It's a fact. They go to mental age just to give the real information of the auspicious activities. So Maharaj Prithu was assured of this fact. So instead of wasting time, by asking the Kumaras about their welfare, he preferred to inquire from them whether he could be soon be relieved from the dangerous position of mental existence. Of course, this was not a question personally for Prithu Maharaj. It was raised by him to teach the common man that whenever one meets a great saintly person, one should immediately surrender unto him and inquire about relief from the mental pains of existence. That's why Narottama Das Thakur, he says, संसार विषय नाले दिवानिशी हिया ज्वाले जुड़ाए तेना कोई न पाए. संसार विषय नाले दिवानिशी हिया ज्वाले जुड़ाई तेना कोई न पाए. It's a beautiful bhajan where Narottama we are always suffering from mental pangs and our hearts are burning, but we cannot find any way out of it. See, the materialistic person can also be called tapasvi, which means someone who is always suffering from material pains. See, one can get rid of all these material pains only when he takes shelter of the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this is also explained by Narottama Das Thakur in this same bhajan. Golokera prema dhana Hare nama sankirtana ratina janmilo kene tai. He says, see, Narottama Das Thakur, he regretted that he did not pursue his attraction for the transcendental vibration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. See, all persons in this material world are suffering from the material pains. And if one wants to get rid of them, he must associate with the saintly persons, pure devotees of the Lord, and chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is the only auspicious way for the materialist persons to get out of this entanglement. See, out of many million human beings, how many are conscious about this complexities of the material world? Everyone thinks that this world is beautiful, glorious. I am born here to enjoy life. Right? What is enjoyment? Bhagavatam 5.5.1, Lord Rishabhadeva teaches his sons about the importance of the human life and the necessity of leading an austere life. Nayam deho dehbajam loke kashtan kaman arhate vidbujam ye tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam shuddhe yasmad brahma shaukyam tvanantam. He's telling his sons, my dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for the dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever. So the human life is especially meant for the revival of our relationship with the Supreme Lord. And to this end, all kinds of austerities and penance should be accepted. By austere activities, one's heart can be cleansed of all material contamination. And as a result, one can be situated on the spiritual platform. So to attain this perfection, one has to take the shelter of a devotee and serve him. That is, I should have a guru. So then the door of liberation will open. See, although Rishabhadeva's sons were already very well behaved, devoted and qualified, Rishabhadeva restricted them so that in the future they could live perfectly in Krishna consciousness. So one should learn that the aim of one's life should be detachment from increasing material desires in order to wind up from this material world of Dukkalaya Shashwata. In this life itself, we should get out. How can this be attained? Again, Sanat Kumara is telling us how to achieve this state. He says, devotees always engage in the service of the toes of the Lord's lotus feet can very easily become free from the hard-knotted desires for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the jnanis and yogis cannot stop the waves of sense gratification, although they try to do so. Therefore, you are advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. Solution for detachment from increasing material desires is to constantly and always engage in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord and the spiritual master. See, service cannot be done without undergoing austerities. And if we do not take to serious devotional service, combining with knowledge, detachment, and austerity, then not only us, okay, but our children and future generation will also suffer in the what do you say, waves and whirlpools of material miseries. That's why my Guru Maharaj always used to say, in this so-called advanced age, everybody is in the race to make money. It doesn't matter how much money is made, but money must be there. That's the slogan. Unfortunately, our children are going to face more trouble than us. Therefore, it is very important that they also take up the Krishna consciousness in its entirety. So, by following Lord Rishabdeva's path, it is our responsibility to ensure that our children are brought up in perfect Krishna consciousness for their own benefit and for the benefit of the future generations. If you are sincere in devotional service, simply by following the instructions of Guru, Prabhupada, and Krishna, this can be achieved. And we can come out of the undesirable material advancement or miseries. So that should be our real business of life. Otherwise, we will miss the bus. So there's a nice verse in Bhagavad Gita 5.6. Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkam maptum ayogatah yoga yukto munir brahma na chirenadi gacchati. Merely renouncing all activities, yet not engaging in devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. Very beautiful verse, right? See, 18.2, Krishna says, Kamyanam karmanam nyasam sannyasam kavayo viduhu sarva karma phalatyagam prahustyagam vichakshanaha. The Supreme Person of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyasa. That is, giving up the activities that are based on material desires is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyasa. And giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation, tyaga. Now, nyas word is very important in this 18.2 shloka. Nyasa means renunciation. So, what is to be renounced? Kamyanam karmanam nyasam. Giving up of activities based on material desires. Now, this nyasam, renunciation, is very important. See, frankly speaking, nothing is ours. And so nothing could be renounced. We can only renounce things which we own, correct? We don't have anything. So what can we renounce? So the idea of renunciation is false. Everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjita magrida kasya swit dhanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. And one should not accept other things, knowing well, to whom they belong. So this is the reality. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Everything belongs to Krishna, whether you like it or not. This is the fact. But what we do? We try to lock the door. Right? We don't take it as his mercy. Tena tyaktena bunjita. Whatever quota is reserved for you, please enjoy that alone. If you want to increase the quota, you have to request Krishna. You can't get anything without him. So, nothing is ours. And there is no question of renunciation. Actually, whatever we have grabbed, that has to be renounced in time. We have been grabbing. So otherwise, when the Lord comes in the form of death, that time we are forced to renounce. See, in the banks, we have to repay, in installments, EMIs, the debts like 12 months or 5 years, we have to repay. But if installments are irregular, then we have to pay fine. And if we fail to even pay the fine and do not take the legal notice also seriously, then eventually you'll be arrested and sentenced. So whole of our lifetime, Krishna is insisting in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, please renounce, sarvadharman parityaja. If you don't pay attention, then Krishna himself comes in the end. That time he's not merciful. He comes as death personified and we are forced to renounce. Just like in the banks, right? If you don't pay, it comes. So till we are alive, we may collect some flats, a house, bank balance. Till we are alive, we try to hold it together, right? Some money, ornaments, lands. We try to keep it together. But when we are dying, we are suffering beyond imagination. Other people are coming to see us. They are more particular about what we hold and want to take it. So those who hold, they are leaving it for others. Those who spend for Krishna, they spend it correctly because money or land does not belong to us. We are just chowkidar, guards. We don't have anything to do with the property. It belongs to Supreme Lord Krishna. So we should renounce whatever is in our possession. We have to bring it in pure consciousness. Pure consciousness means at least part of it, you use it for Krishna. House, wealth, family should be utilized for Krishna. We have to serve the Lord with our own hands. If we make prasadam at home, please feed prasadam to all. See, the food may be cooked in our home, but it is not ours. It is from Krishna. So please renounce by distributing to other souls also. See, we have seen that all those who misuse Krishna's property are all suffering. Grabbing is not allowed. See, Maharaj used to say, sannyasa is not allowed in this age, in Kali Yuga. Even Prabhupada, it's there. It's not, it is prohibited in this age. But at the same time, we cannot do without sannyas. When we are not preaching, that time must be utilized to meditate on how to reconcile this point. See, unless we are convinced, we cannot convince others. So we have to read first. Right? So how to develop this renunciant attitude? A nice example of glassware, right? Maharaj says that when the glassware will break, the glassware will break only when hit. But our body will break just like that. So everybody must visualize the last day of our life. This idea will give the renunciant attitude. Cure of all ignorance is visualization of the last day. If you visualize the last day, then you will behave as a trustee. Renunciation must be in our nature. Renunciation is not only in currency, money, no. Renunciation can be done in terms of intelligence, time, energy also. So the more we renounce, the more happy we become. Then satisfaction comes. And as soon as satisfaction is there, prasannata. And prasanna leads to eternity. So by practicing the vows of silence and renunciation, according to time, place, and circumstances, and always performing sincere devotional service, we will be able to lead a peaceful life. See, an old friend of mine was undergoing troubles which were beyond my imagination. It was really tough for me to believe why and how such things could happen to a person who was simple and straightforward in nature. So at that moment, it struck me that whether one possesses good qualities or bad qualities, we are all totally helpless in this miserable world and are incapable of saving ourselves on our own. On our own, it is difficult from the destiny. So when I requested that friend to chant the Maha Mantra, he replied, he's already doing that more these days. And he added that this was alone keeping him alive in this most challenging situation. So on hearing that, I could realize how the Lord's shelter alone is the safest shelter in this world of miseries. How it gives one strength to face destiny with courage. See, I was listening to one of the lectures by Maharaj. He was quoting how destiny or bhagya would never leave us. He gave the example of Karna. Karna, right from the time of his birth, he had to face so much problems for no fault of his. His mother Kunti could not keep him as because she gave birth to him by invoking the sun god when she was still a virgin. And so she put him in a basket and dropped him in the river, where he was picked by a fisherman. Now, since childhood, Karna was thinking that he was the son of a Shudra, though he was a Kshatriya. So, though he was a Kshatriya, he was deprived of all the name and fame. So, when he desired to learn archery, Dronacharya refused to teach him, as he was the son of Shudra. Later, he introduced himself as Brahmana and learnt all knowledge from Bhargava Muni. But destiny did not leave him even at that time. What happened? At that time of his departure from Gurukul, Bhargava Muni wanted to take rest for some time and requested for a pillow. So, in an attempt to please his guru, Karna requested him to sleep on his lap. So, when the guru was resting on a terrible insect came and bit Karna's lap. Now, since he did not want to disturb his guru, he tolerated the pain. And then later, when Bhargava Muni woke up, he was able to realize that Karna could not be a Brahmana. Instead of praising his disciple for the service, Bhargava Muni cursed him that he would not remember whatever he has taught him at the time of need, as he had lied to him that he was a Brahmana. After some time, Karna by mistake shot a cow, thinking it to be a deer. Now the owner of the cow was a Brahmana. And when Karna realized that he had by mistake shot the cow, he asked for forgiveness. But the Brahmana cursed him, saying that just like how the cow was killed in helpless condition, he too would be killed in a helpless condition. In this way, we can see that how, although there was a chance for Karna to become a very powerful warrior and rule over the entire planet, destiny was smashing all his plans to become ruler of the entire world. So when things fail to happen as per our wish, we should realize that this is definitely due to reactions of previous karma or plan of the Lord. So it is important for us to not waste our time and effort in working against the destiny or lamenting about it. Rather, we should learn to tolerate the destiny and not be envious of people who are not facing such problems. Envy will not help us to conquer destiny. If we know that the Lord is in control, then we would be able to tolerate the destiny. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.10, Maya dakshana prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunane kaunteya jagat viparivartate. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. See, material nature without the superintendence of the Supreme Lord Krishna cannot do anything. We may intend to do so many things, but nothing happens without the superintendence or sanction of Krishna. See, we are limited. Yes, so are our intentions and plans. But Krishna knows the past, present, and future and knows what is best for each one of us. Every single thing happens under his superintendence. So when we understand this truth and surrender unto Krishna, he will give us all the strength to tolerate the destiny, and if he wishes, he would even change the destiny. See, in the pastime of Lord Brahma stealing the cowherd boys and cows in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that while Krishna and his friends were eating their lunch in the forest, the cows being allured by the green grass, went far away deep into the forest. And when Krishna saw this and saw that his friends were frightened, he told his friends to not stop eating, continue your lunch. And he said that he will bring the cows back by personally going after them himself. He says in Bhagavatam 10:13, Aneshya Vatsakanaham. I myself shall bring back the calves. Then Krishna carrying his yogurt and rice in his hand. You say Tair Sadam, right? He's having curd rice, carrying his yogurt and rice in his hand. Immediately went out to search for the cows of his friends. I remember in long time in classes, they said, see, Krishna is a Madrasi, he's a South Indian, because he's eating curd rice. And somebody saying he's somewhere else. So they're just having some arguments like this. So to please his friends, he began searching in all the mountains. Mountain caves, bushes, narrow passages, right? So this straying away of the cows being allured by the green grass, this can be compared to the living entities who stray away from Krishna looking for pleasure in sense gratification. So just like Krishna takes personal care to bring back the calves, Krishna being Alaya, one who is never inattentive or idle for the purpose of our deliverance, becomes the personal deliverer of the living entities and picks us up from material existence. So he is coming to in search of us, just like he was going in search of the cows. That's why in 10, 13, 14, Prabhupada says, the Vedas, Shvetashvara Upanishad 6.8 assert that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has nothing to do personally. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Because he is doing everything through his energies and potencies. Parasa Shaktir Vidaiva Shuyate. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 13.65 purport. So here we see that he took personal care to find the cause of his friends. This was Krishna's causeless mercy. Mayadakshana Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. So all the affairs of the entire world and entire cosmic manifestation are working under his direction through his different energies. Still, when there is a need to take care of his friends, he does this personally. Krishna assured his friends, don't be afraid, I am going personally to search for your calves. This was Krishna's causeless mercy. Prabhupada repeats the words, this was Krishna's causeless mercy 2 times in the same purport. See, there's a nice story of Akbar and Birbal. One day, King Akbar asked Birbal, why is it that your God behaves so strangely? Doesn't your Lord Krishna have any servant? Each time a devotee calls for help, he runs himself personally. He can employ others to do such work. Oh yes, Birbal said. So he had a plan to explain the fact to the king. Birbal knew that King Akbar loved his grandson very much. So he asked a statue maker to make a dummy of the grandson and dress it with the same costume as that of Akbar's grandson. Then he asked the guardian of the grandson to carry the dummy doll to the lake and wait for his signal. So the guardian agreed. Birbal came to the lake with King Akbar. At Birbal's signal, the guardian slipped the dummy doll into the lake. As soon as the King Akbar saw this, he jumped into the lake's cold water to rescue his grandson. He realized that it was just a wax doll. Birbal commented, Your Majesty, why did you jump into the cold lake to rescue young prince while you have so many guards and servants at your service? King replied, Oh, I have understood them, but my grandson is precious one, so I couldn't stop myself. So he said, now you see, Your Majesty, that's why Lord Krishna, who loves each one of his devotees, comes to their help himself. As always, right? King Akbar agreed with Birbal very smilingly. See, among the 9 processes, Archanam means worshipping the deity. Deity worship is very essential for householders. See, the bliss and benefit of having deity at home can only be experienced individually and cannot be expressed in few words, right? See, deity is what happens, when you have a deity at home. It regulates our life and force our dirty, lazy minds to keep things clean. So they eliminate the feeling of voidness in the home and our lives and keeps us going at all times. See, when an adult, he feels scared to enter a big hall when it is dark. Whereas if a deity of the Lord is there, even a small child enters the hall bravely without any fear. Such is the power and potency of the deity. The process and mood with which we should worship the deity is very nicely explained by Prabhupada. He says, especially for householder, devotees who are opulent in material possessions, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. An opulent householder devotee who does not engage his hard-earned money in the service of the Lord is called a miser. One should not engage paid brahmanas to worship the deity in that homes, right? If one does not personally worship the deity, but engage paid servants instead, he is considered lazy. And his worship of the deity is called artificial. An opulent householder can collect luxurious paraphernalia for deity worship. And consequently, for household devotees, the worship of deity is compulsory. So having deity at home is to revive our lost relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. So understanding this, we should serve the deities with our own endeavor and not employ others for serving them. If we keep servants for serving our deities at home, then even after millions of births, we will not be able to revive our relationship with Krishna. We might very well see that even in case of our own relatives like parents, grandparents, children, the loving reciprocation which we experience, the satisfaction which we get when we serve them directly is much more than when we employ caretakers for the same. Our hunger cannot be satisfied if we ask someone else to eat for us, correct? Similarly, we will never remember Krishna if we keep on delegating others, even the basic service which are supposed to do to Krishna. Ambarish Maharaj was king of the whole planet. So many people under his control. But still, he used to clean the temple with his own hands, bathe the deities, offer flowers to them, perform puja himself. We are nothing when compared to Ambarish Maharaj. His powerful position, right? So let us at least sincerely endeavor to serve our deities at home to the best of our capabilities. The only way to control our wavering senses is to engage them in the service of deity, who is non-different from the Lord of senses, Rishikesha. See, we have to be clear that devotional service or bhakti means there is some inner transformation in our hearts. Although there are a lot of external changes involved. See, the most important part is the transformation inside. And for this, we need to do a lot of introspection, contemplation, which alone can lead to realization. Now, this leads us to change in our behavior and attitude. So the transformation which happens inside is reflected outside in the form of good behavior and good dealings. So actually the process is inside out. Even though a lot of external guidance is provided to enable us to go through this inner transformation and to get to the point of realization, right? That is why Paramatma manifests as our spiritual master to guide us outside, and he remains as Chaitya Guru within. So in Bhagavatam 4:22-32, while describing what causes obstruction to our spiritual progress, is very nicely said. It says, there is no stronger obstruction to one's self-interest than thinking other subject matters to be more pleasing than one's self-realization. So we have to change our thinking on what is beneficial for us. To understand this, a small story. One day in an office, all the employees reached the office and saw a big advice written on the door. Yesterday, the person who has been stopping your growth in this company passed away. You are invited to join the funeral. In the beginning, they got sad for the death of one of their colleagues. But after a while, they got curious to know who was the man who stopped their growth. Everyone thought, well, at least the man who stopped my progress died. So one by one, the thrilled employees got closer to the coffin. And when they looked inside, they were speechless. They stood shocked in silence, as if someone had touched the deepest part of their soul. There was a mirror inside the coffin, and everyone who looked inside could see himself or herself. And there was a text sign next to the mirror that read, there is only one person who is capable to set limits to your growth. It is you. You are the only person who can influence your happiness, success, and realization. So our life does not change when our boss, friend, or company changes. Our life changes when we change for the better. When we go beyond our limiting beliefs, and we realize we are the only one responsible for our life. See, it is very nicely said that if an egg is broken from outside force, life ends. If an egg is broken from outside force, life ends. But if it is broken from inside force, life begins. So great things always begin from inside. That is why Krishna, after speaking the verses of Bhagavad Gita, finally instructs Arjuna in 18.63, deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. So let us all pray and also pray to the Guru, Prabhupada, and Krishna, and let introspect ourselves on our defects instead of blaming others for anything and everything, right? Let us realize that blaming others will be as anti-Bhagavatam. It will be anti-Bhagavatam behavior. So we should be very careful with these things and take these lessons and put it into our practice in our daily life. I stop here now. Thank you very much, Prabhupada, for giving me this opportunity to glorify Krishna and purify ourselves. Hare Krishna. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Nartha Guru Vaishnava. If you have any questions or any points to share, felt very useful for you to take into practice, put it into practice, you can go ahead. Hare Krishna. Yes, association of devotees. Yes, Prabhu. Correct. Yes, very important. Okay. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandrat Pranams. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.